Om Shanti. In today's blessing also, Baba continues to give us more methods to stay light, while carrying out the biggest of tasks. And the method Baba today gives is wonderful. So, you see, sometimes when you see something which looks impossible to do, you ask yourself, can I do it? And the answer comes, no, it's too big for you. Then you ask yourself, is it too big for God? Then the answer is, no, He is the Almighty. Nothing too big for Him. So then you ask yourself, then is it too big for the child of God? No. Because as children of God, we are very powerful. And Baba says, whenever you think of yourself as Baba's child, when you think of yourself as, doing it on the guidance of Baba or on the directions of Baba, when you understand that the task belongs to Baba and you belong to Baba, then every task becomes very, very simple, very, very easy to perform. And this is, we call this June month, Mama's month. So Mama transitioned into the angelic form on 24th June. So Mama's month, we celebrate Mama's qualities. And one thing that Mama always said was, जो सेवा देगा वो शक्ति भी देगा. So if He has given me a seva, He is giving me His power, He is giving me His cooperation also. And when you stay in this awareness that Baba's seva, so Baba is giving His power, His cooperation, then you can see, so Baba is anyways giving His power and cooperation, but awareness makes you see that. You become very cognizant of that. You can see that Baba is doing it for you. You can actually see Baba's hand and you don't feel the burden of it. And there is a very beautiful interpretation of ego. Ego means edging God out. Ego means edging God out. So whenever you are in ego, you can't see the hand of God. You can't see Baba's hand. That is what ego does. And Baba says, I'm always with you. Whenever you are doing something, I'm helping you. But if you're able to see my hand in it, you will stay very light. And when you don't see my hand in it, you do it with ego. And then you create heaviness from the task. So this is something that Baba recommends today for creating that stage of lightness while doing everything. And this is something that is very practically experienced by every Baba's child who understands that I'm not an ordinary being, I'm Master Almighty, the child of the Almighty, and by virtue of that I'm very, very powerful. So people say that I'm this, I'm that, but Baba says that can translate into ego. But then when you know that I'm powerful, I'm blissful, I'm happy, but by virtue of being Baba's child, then it keeps you humble and powerful and happy. So this is the indirect relationship we need to have with power. So this is something. And then today Baba also talks about oneness. And Baba says we are not one, so we are all different. So when you think we are all one, then it creates a lot of problems because it increases your expectation of the other. Yes, so you have to connect with everybody, but you also have to appreciate that they are very different from you, and it's okay. You have to embrace that difference. So Baba says, I will tell you one very interesting thing. There was this one brother, and he came to the center. First time he came, and then he told me, Didi, so there was a mango on the table, and then he told me, Didi, how can the mango and you become one? So I said, no, we can't become one. We are different, and it's okay. So he said, no, if you eat the mango, you and the mango become one. So I said, then according to that logic, I will have to eat you up to be one with you. And that's not a very good idea. So how do you keep, eating this, eating that, or, there are different methods which people think will make you one with somebody. So oneness is not a physical thing. It's not like I'm made of matter, so I'm one with the elements. No, it's not like that. You are not made of matter. You are a soul. You are made of 7 qualities. Matter is matter. So the 5 elements are different from you. Every soul is different from you because everyone has a unique recording. Yes, just like when you go to a CD shop, every CD looks the same, but they are not the same because once you put them in the player, they sound very different. So Baba says every soul is not a blank CD. Every soul is a pre-recorded CD. So we are all different. But then Baba says that still you are one. How? Because you all have one parent. So every soul is connected to each other because we belong to one Baba. And we have a relationship with each other, that of a brother and sister or a brother and brother. So that relationship is what helps you create a connection or feel a connection with everyone. So you don't have a direct relationship with every soul, but an indirect relationship because you have the same parent. So you are the child of the one. And in that sense, you feel a connection, and that connection helps you to create acceptance, a sense of belonging, a sense of care, and also stay detached because you know you are not the same, you are different. So you know that just like your brothers and sisters are very different from you, although you belong to the same parent. Are you the same? No, we are very different. We have siblings who are very different from us, but we accept them the way they are. We have a sense of belonging and care for them, and still we understand that they are different from me. So this is the idea of oneness that Baba gives us, and Baba tells us that in this sense we are all one in the sense that we belong to one Baba and we are brothers and sisters to each other, not that we are similar to each other or we are all made of matter and so we are the same, not all those ideas. And then Baba says that you love and respect the 5 elements of nature also, because they are God's creation. So you love everything that is Baba's creation, and in that regard you love your brothers and sisters. So this is the idea of oneness that Baba gives us, and I think we need to rehearse this a lot, because this keeps us, this actually helps us develop very loveful vision for everyone around us. And then it also helps you, it also doesn't allow you to forget that you're different. So obviously their sanskars would be different from your sanskars. So this is Baba's teaching today. And then Baba in the Murli today says that son shows father and father shows son. Yes, so, or it is the other way around, father shows son and son shows father. So Baba says that I introduced you to yourself, now you introduce me to all my children. Okay, so this is the responsibility that Baba is giving us, and Baba says use your intellects for only this. Yes, for only this. And I loved this in the Murli today, because this intellect is a very problematic thing if not used properly. And what do we do all day with the intellect? We are assigning meaning to behaviors and situations and circumstances and events and things which are predestined. So it is what it is, and all day what your intellect is doing is, it is assigning meaning to it, creating emotions in it, and living those emotions. Are you doing that or not? Yes. Let's say, somebody dropped something, your mobile. The very nice mobile, new mobile you bought, they took it in the hand and then it dropped. And then you're looking at that scene and analyzing. Yes, this person was jealous, they held my mobile wrong, then they purposefully dropped it, and now it is broken, I am in loss. But the thing is, it is what it is, it's already happened, prefixed in the drama. If you keep analyzing it for 24 hours also, it is not going to change. So don't waste your intellect in analyzing what is. It is what it is. Then what do you do with your intellect? There is one sister, she is a psychiatrist, and when she came into Gyan, she told me, I have one question. So I said, Hanji pucho. So she said, I have understood what not to think, what not to do, and I am pretty convinced that okay, that's not the right thing to do or think. So I've stopped doing that, but what to do? That's the big problem now. Because I have so much capacity to think. I have been a critical thinker all my life. Now, how do I just stop thinking, and then what do I think, or where do I apply my buddhi all the time? Because my buddhi needs food all the time, it has to work, work, work. So then you see, Baba says, engage your buddhi in churning the truth, the true knowledge that Baba gives us. Analyze who are you, who is Baba, and what is Baba's task that is going on. What is it that Baba has come to give you? Use your buddhi to do this. Because when you use your buddhi to do this, then truth is power. And then when you churn the truth you become very, very powerful inside. Things start to shift inside. Now, in one class, I was telling you that, you see, my buddhi has the capacity to go into the past. My buddhi has the capacity to go into the future. My buddhi has the capacity to interpret situations, events, everything. And you see, when we are body conscious, we are using our buddhi to create more and more sorrow. Are we not doing that? You are taking your buddhi into past events, and when you have given a sorrowful meaning to an event in the past, you are digging that dirt up and then reliving that sorrowful moment right now based on your buddhi. Or things that have not yet happened, you are invoking them through your buddhi by taking it into the future unfortunate events that you think are possible and probable. So our buddhi is what we are doing all this with. And it is your buddhi that tells you, I'm good for nothing. Or it is your buddhi that tells you, I'm everything. Or it is your buddhi that tells you that, everybody is rude to me or bad to me or good to me. So all this is what your buddhi tells you. Yes, your buddhi tells you you're rich or poor. Yes. So have you seen that, once I was just traveling from somewhere to somewhere, and then there was a group of women, and they were tribal women. And then in that group, so the most well-dressed woman according to that group, yes, she was feeling very egoistic about it, and then everybody was looking at that one stone earring she had, and there was a lot of comparison and all going on in that group. And I was just wondering, you see, people are so limited by their groups. So when you say I'm pretty well off, who are you comparing yourself with? Not Bill Gates. You are comparing yourself with that group that you feel belonging to. Yes, or when you say I'm not doing very well, so you are again restricting yourself to that group which you find belonging with. So that is how our buddhi keeps working. Or you say I'm doing great, or my times are not good. So it's all about how you have set the bar for yourself and how you have defined success and failure for yourself. And it is all very, very subjective. So Baba says you keep playing these games, and anyways it is what it is, and you are only assigning meaning to it. And so there was this one brother, and he told me, I failed my exam. So I said, and so are you sad about it? So he said, yes, I'm very sad about it. And then he continued and he said, this is the third time I failed. So when it was the first time, I didn't feel so bad. Now second time I felt worse, third time very bad. So I said, but it's just like you went and it didn't clear, that's it. Why are you carrying that load first time, second time, third time? And with this heaviness, how will you work? How will you study? So what are you using your buddhi for? So you're using your buddhi to feel miserable. So first time, so you have created programming within yourself. Failing first time is not that bad, second time very bad, third time you should go and just drown in the ocean, you're good for nothing. So you have just created this whole the parameter inside, and then you're suffering because of your own parameters. So everything you're doing through your buddhi. Or your buddhi tells you I'm old or I'll die, but young people also die. So what makes you think you're old so you will die, or you are old so you will get sick? Everybody gets sick these days. If you're not yet sick, that's good news, but in whatever age you are, you can be sick, you can die, so no problem. So why are you so worried about what age you are in? So, but we start creating these thoughts, and then thoughts create destiny. So our thoughts are creating our destiny, but our buddhi is something that makes it look very, very, it makes us think that these thoughts of insult and hurt and loss and misery are very, very logical, and they are the right thoughts that you should take in this circumstance. Now Baba tells us, you churn how to give Baba's introduction to everybody. Use your intellect for this. And what is the meaning of that? So what is Baba's introduction? So what is Baba's introduction? And it is very beautiful when you start to think about what is Baba's introduction. You cannot think about giving Baba's introduction without including your introduction in that. So Baba's introduction and your introduction are, it's together. So what is Baba's introduction? So you see, I and Baba stayed together in the soul world. That's our permanent home. And then I came down, and Baba had left his child, to express, because the child was rich. So I, the soul, was rich in peace, happiness, goodness, virtues, specialities, qualities. So I came down to express it. But somewhere I got lost. I started thinking that I'm a body, and then I started thinking, oh, my age is my limiting factor, or my gender is my limiting factor, or this is limiting, that is limit. I started getting limited by my relationships. So I thought that if I am not married, I can't be happy. If I don't have a child, I can't be happy. Or if my child is not listening to me, I can't be happy. Or if my child is not getting good grades, I can't be happy. So I started limiting myself with these body conscious belief systems. So everything comes with the body. The body, with the body comes life, death, age, gender, health, disease, everything. And then with the body comes relationships, work, labels, titles, degrees, grades. And we started getting caught up in all of that. And then we slowly lost all that we had brought from the soul world. And then Baba is the one, the only one, because every soul comes down and they end up losing themselves. And then we create this whole belief systems, and by working on those belief systems, we create sanskars, and then we create a number system. 1 is greater than 0, 2 is greater than 1, and then I have more money than you, and you have less marks than me, and all of this number system we create. Do you think the number system is a reality? It's a human creation. So basically in this universe there is nothing like less than, greater than. So there is only, so everything is what it is, but we humans, we create the number system. So we assign everything as less than, greater than, and in these times where we are living, we have even graded beauty as less than, greater than. So these days when people go for beauty pageants, they are given you have 7 marks on your smile and 10 marks on your hair, and your face is 10 on 10 or 0 on 10, and then you start giving a number system, or you start getting caught up in that number system, and you start assigning a value to that which is beyond this game of value. So everything in nature had its own utility, its own relevance, and then we start assigning value to everything, and then we say this is less than that, that is greater than that, and then we start identifying ourselves as a sum of all those parameters. So if my house is, so my house is this big, so then my success rate is 6 out of 10, because this much big house means I have 6 marks. Then I have a spouse who has these many qualities and these many missing, so I'm a 5 on 10 on the relationship scale, and then we add it all up, and then we take out our cumulative value, and then we start feeling miserable about ourselves. So this is what we do, and then when we get caught up in all of this very badly, and then we get caught up in the creation of our own buddhi, our own mind, and then we become, and by putting that into action, we create sanskars which are very, very difficult to manage. We create thought patterns, patterns of feelings, patterns of behaviors, patterns of sleep, food, everything which is very, very detrimental to our continuity. And then when we reach a place where we have messed it up so badly that nobody is able to take us out of it. So Baba usually calls this mess that we create a maze. So every time you are making an effort to come out of it, and you meet a dead end. So these days, researchers, scientists, everybody is trying to create a happy world. But how can you create a happy world when you have filled your buddhi with all those body conscious thinking, and you have mired yourself up in that less than greater than game? So, or the game of right and wrong. I am right, you are wrong, so I hate you, and that is right. So this is what we are doing all day. I am right, you are wrong, so I hate you and I'm angry on you, and that is very right. So we keep harboring hatred and anger, and in the name of being right. So this is how we are operating. And then Baba comes and sits in the body of Brahma Baba, because he is the father, teacher and Satguru. Baba says, I am the father, teacher and Satguru. I don't become that. So do you understand that everybody becomes a father? So you congratulate people, today you became a father. So, so everybody becomes a father, becomes a teacher. You study and then you become a teacher. You do tapasya and then you become a guru. Baba doesn't become that. Baba is that. Baba never stops being a father, teacher and Satguru, because he doesn't come into the cycle of birth and death. So he is always full, knowledgeful, loveful, full of benevolence, full of all the gyan, full of the knowledge of how to take you back, what is missing in you, so how to turn you from body conscious to soul conscious. He has all of that. And then he comes, he takes a body on loan, he sits in the body of Brahma Baba, and then he speaks, and he, through his words, he tells us who we are, what is the truth, and how we got caught up in all these ideas which are not true. And then he reminds us that truth will set you free. So Baba tells us, Sach se sadgati hoti hai. Sadgati means you go to a world where there is no bondage. And that is the quality of truth. You always heard truth will set you free. And that is why Baba comes and tells us the truth which sets us free really. He becomes the Father, Teacher and Satguru. He gives us the love of the Father, the love which we had not expressed for so long and we were dry of that love. He gives us the love, the sustenance, the teachings, the guidance, and then He again restores us to that being. So we had become having beings, doing beings. He says, forget what you have, forget what you do, just be. And then when you change into, when you in your consciousness, when you shift to that being who you are, then the doing and the having becomes very, very easy, because that is something you attract. So Baba says, I change the whole game. So I'm the one who you forget and then you descend, and then I come, I remind you, and then you ascend. So this is you and me. And when somebody understands the Father's introduction, somebody realizes who really God is, and that He has come and He was with me in the soul world, and then how I went the wrong way, and then how Baba is correcting us, and what is He telling me, then Baba says, once you introduce the child to the Father and the child knows the Father, then automatically the child will know himself and take his inheritance from me. So Baba says, you want the whole world to go back to its erstwhile glory of Satyug. What you do is, you do this one thing, introduce the Father to every child. So what every child needs is Baba. Baba's love, Baba's confidence. So the confidence that I'm God's child. And you see, if you look at it in the Lokic way, you are just like your parents. Yes, because you identify with them. And this is not because of the design, but because of the programming. So when you think that this is my parent and I am like them, right from childhood you start thinking like that, and then you subtly imbibe everything that they are, and you become at least 80% photocopies of who they are. And this is one beautiful phenomena, where in this whole, the seva field, I have observed that there are children at the age of 20, 40, 60, they come and talk about their parents, they come and talk about their limitations. But when you observe them, they have the same identical limitations. Have you seen that? So there was this one sister, she always used to tell me that my father was very anxious, and every time, in all his actions, he came across as a very anxious person, and I grew up in that environment. I didn't like the fact that he's always worked up about everything, anxious about everything. But then when I spent some time with that sister, I realized she's equally anxious. So we sometimes, we think that, we don't like this quality in my parent, but then you have imbibed it knowingly or unknowingly. And then Baba says, so if it is so easy to become like your parent, what you need to do is just understand I am your parent. Baba says, I am your real parent. And you are like me by design. Man is made in the image of God. But then what you did is, you forgot that and you started identifying with your physical parents and started borrowing their limitations into yourself. But if you just realized who you really are and whose child you really are, you would come back to your state of power. So this is something that Baba says, you want to help the world, this is the only method. I wouldn't say the shortest, it's the only method. So when we know our Father, we will realize who we are, and when we realize who we are, what we do, how we think starts changing, and that's how the world changes. So Baba says, do this one seva, introduce your Father to everybody, because I am everybody's Father. Baba says, I gave you your introduction. Today you know yourself because of me. Now let your brothers and sisters also know who they are by knowing me. And then Baba today says, don't waste your gyan. It was very interesting to read that. Baba says, don't waste your gyan. Give your gyan. So what does Baba say? Baba says, what should you pay attention to so that this knowledge is not even slightly wasted? Okay, and then Baba says, try to give the wealth of knowledge to those who are either devotees of Shiv Baba or the deities. Yes, Baba says, try to give the knowledge to devotees. Okay, now this is very interesting because, you know, as we did seva, I realized many people don't have the God chip. You talk about God, they are just put off. They don't think, so they just don't think about God. And then there are some who say, no, God, we don't, and I'm not interested in God. And such ones will never understand Gyan. And that is true, because there was this one brother and he always had questions about Baba. No love for Baba. Even when he kept listening to the Murli for 1 year, but with no love for Baba. And he just said, you know, in the Murli there are many technical things and they help me in my work and this and that, but I don't believe in God and this and that. And then after 1 year he just stopped coming, because until and unless you have that love for Baba, you cannot get the power to imbibe what Baba is saying. And when you see somebody who is totally, you know, dismisses even the idea of God, don't waste your time there. And there are some who are totally against the idea of purity. Don't waste your time there. Yes, so, and I remember there was one session and they were youth, so around 50 youth were there. And then I asked them, are you interested in God? They said no. Then I said, are you interested in peace, love and happiness? They said yes. So how can you be interested in the fruit without being interested in the tree? So you have to be interested in the source if you are interested in love, peace and happiness. So, and then you have to be interested in purity if you are interested in love, peace and happiness, because that is the seed of love, peace and happiness. And you must be interested in the one that makes you pure. Otherwise, you don't get the whole, you know, the benefit of it. And that is why sometimes some people will just be interested by, you know, the vocabulary or the way Gyan is presented or this and that. So that's just being impressed. So you can be temporarily happy by being impressed. But if you want permanent inheritance from Baba, you have to know this is my Baba. You have to know I am a child, I am pure by nature, and I have to take my inheritance from Baba, go to a pure world and have 21 births of peace and happiness. So once you become a little mature in this, you start understanding by the way they talk, by the way they respond, you understand this is not interested in Baba and they are not interested in purity. So they would come for some days, but then they would stop coming. Okay, so don't waste too much time there, because you cannot drill Gyan into somebody. So if they are a deity soul, the Gyan makes sense and they start doing it. If they are not, can't help it. So don't waste too much time. Focus on those who are deity souls, who respond to teachings of purity and who respond to the love of Baba. Okay. Om Shanti.